Casey, Leah, thank you so much for allowing us in your space.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure. We're excited to show off our house.
Is it about this place in particular that caught your eye?
When we walked into this house, we immediately fell in love with it. It just is...
The idea of it.
Yeah, for sure. We love a good project, which this house definitely is. It had great bones and a great vibe to it that we just really wanted to bring back to life.
Is there a favorite part of the house that each of you?
This space is the space that makes you fall in love with the house, and it's my favorite place. You know, I spent a lot of time at my desk working, but also, you know, this is a nice room to like sit back and play guitar, watch your kids make a giant mess and destroy everything. I think this house is sort of impractical in lots of ways, but if you're only looking for practicality, then you're gonna get, you know, a ticky-tacky builder house that you can put on a cul-de-sac in some towns maybe farther north here, if you want something really practical. But it's like, so the feature, I think I'm agreeing with Leah here, the feature is just sort of like the experience of being here and being allowed to, because we like to design things and we like to be creative and we have an eclectic taste, and you know, like anything from that era, it's sort of an empty chalice, if you will, that can hold any sort of ideas or designs. It doesn't have to be mid-century, can be whatever you want, because there's so, like, we have a lot of like stuff to put on walls and we never had places to put it. There is no lack of wall space in this house. So instead of storage, there's lots of wall space, so we can buy all the decor we want and we will never run out of places to put it, right? So that's sort of the feature I like, is that you can make it whatever you want it to be.
Now, is there anything about this house that you find especially inconvenient and is your least favorite?
I would say the under of the house, because I'm the one who has to go in there anytime we want to run a water line or electrical, or really just even figure out what is going on under there. Because there is a crawl space, but at some point someone had forced heat put in the house.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome, great, we have a heater. But that means there's all these ducts and I have to go under there like fully suited up with a mask and like dig with my trowel to get under things. So if I could change anything, it would be someone would come and add an extra like foot under the house and put a vapor barrier down. And sometimes I'm just like, not worth it. You know, it has to be like I'm gonna have to accomplish a lot down there if I'm gonna go under there and army crawl. And like, but I bought walkie-talkies recently, and she's like, why do you need those? I'm like, and as soon as I got them, right afterwards, my dad and I did some work, and we were able to walkie-talkie from under the house instead of like yelling and be like, where are you? So.
I would definitely say right now the kitchen is my least favorite. The space is lovely, it's a great space, and it has a lot of potential for something, but we love to cook, we like to entertain.
I love these windows.
Yes.
Nice and wide, definitely lets a lot of light in from. Another striking thing that I've noticed in this room is this really long light fixture going across the kitchen. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, it definitely fits with this space, so it's just a pretty cool feature. Some people come in and they're like, what is with this light? But we really like it and think it's super cool, and we are hoping to bring it back to life a little bit too, with some new chains and maybe face it with some raw wood.
Rebuilding it so that it could be
exactly the same.
Exactly the same, so that it could be like fresh wood that's like sealed all perfect. And then I was like, maybe we could buy a bunch of like thin, like tin thickness brass and like brass cover it. And she's like, how much money are you gonna spend on that? I'm like, I don't know, but how cool would it look?
And I noticed, so the kitchen counters, the stove, the cabinets, are they from the area that you were thinking about?
Definitely not. I believe it was remodeled in the 90s at some point in time, and whoever thought it was a good idea to put tile on countertops, I'm really angry with them.
I mean, it's super 90s. The oak with the tile. I mean, there's always projects. Like, we need to build a little section of fence in the back. We need to build some steps outside. You know, we need to finish this place and put in a drawer. So living here is a constant project. It's always a project.
Which we love.
Which we like, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we bought this house.
Well, we knew that if it was a fixer-upper, we could also afford it. So that's another thing. Yeah.
When you first moved into the home, was there anything that surprised you?
I mean, we're always finding surprises every time we open up a wall or start a new project.
Leah wanted me to hang a shelf, and then she was like, "Oh, the wall's peeling," and then just started ripping the wall off. And next thing you know, I had to remodel the room. So this was, you know, the exterior of the home on this wall is concrete block, and what I had to do was pull it all down and clean it all up and fur it out. So this is all sheetrock. So like that was our first experience working in this home. But then we had to kind of figure out what was going on up here.
All right,
So-
yeah, there's a lot of light going through and there's like a hollow space there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What it does is it lets the light from the clear story windows from that side of the butterfly roof come through. Sometimes when the light hits just perfect, it lights this room up. Like you're like, whoa, like how do I capture that year round?
Does this house have a certain character or personality for you?
It also has that vibe of that time where, you know, like you're gonna come in and you're gonna get yourself a, you know, a Manhattan or an old fashioned, and you're gonna, you know, put on your records and kind of have a classic good time, but it's definitely not stuffy. It's definitely a place to let loose and have fun. You don't get a house like this because you don't think it looks cool.
Casey, Leah, it's been interesting to learn more about your home. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome. We're glad that you guys wanted to come check out our house.
It's a pretty great house, I have to say. I love the lines and the geometry.
I mean, we love living in it. We're kind of fond of it.